Hello everyone, good evening to you all. I am Dr. Rahul Shah and today I am going to talk on a topic known as Frugal Innovation, a change in perspective management. Before I start this topic, what I am going to discuss with you guys or tell you about how this topic and what exactly it means, I'll just give a brief introduction about myself. As I mentioned, my name is Dr. Rahul Shah. I have got few credits about what I have done in my life, like my education qualification which I have done is I have done my BCom, MCom, MBA, PGDM, and etc. courses, and I recently qualified with a PhD program, that is I have done my doctorate. It was a wonderful experience doing all these degrees and courses and growing up with time. I have also worked with a lot of different companies in the market, and I also own a couple of companies which are into different field. Let me tell you and share my ideologies about what do we mean by frugal innovation. It's a very catchy and a very touchy topic in need of today's hour, in need of understanding what way how businesses are growing. Frugal innovation is very important. Now guys, do you know what do we mean by frugal innovation? If someone who knows it can quickly go on typing and asking questions about it. If not, make sure that what I'm going to explain to you all about frugal innovation is the need of an hour. You know, I also wanted to thank before I start in explaining this concept, our head of this particular department, Dr. Rajesh Aparnath, for giving me an opportunity to come up and do a Facebook Live concept with you guys. Let me start now. So frugal innovation is a wonderful concept. Frugal basically means doing something which is on a different format. It's a concept about frugal innovation, which means that how you apply in today's era things in a very different format. Like I'll give you example, what do I mean by frugal innovation? In today's era where the companies are going through crisis with lot of different kinds of resources crunch, like example, people in the companies have got crunch of financial resources crunch, companies have got crunch about you can say monetary resources, that is financial resources, human resource crunch. In certain parts we also have got manufacturing resources crunch. So basic three aspects of management resources, they are physical, financial and human resource. All forms of resources are going through a crunching period. In that area, frugal innovation plays a very important role. The concept frugal innovation means that how in a given format, with making sure that you can manage the resources and give beautiful output for customers' requirement. We have many companies who have been doing these days frugal innovation and growing with time. To cite one of the examples at the right away point to make you understand is a company like example Godrej. Now you all would know this brand known as Goodnight, or a particular mosquito repellent known as Goodnight, or maybe any sort of different kinds of brands. With a 1 rupee kind of a sheet, they came up with a mosquito repellent which could reach to a lot of people at a very economical rate. This is the concept of frugal innovation. It is basically called as out of box thinking. In today's era, if you do not have out of box thinking, it is not going to make you grow with time. You require, or the need of the hour is to have out of box thinking. The out of box thinking is very important because it gives us different areas of thinking, how we can, with the help of resources which are limited in nature, we can give justification to the company's requirement or resources. There are so many companies right now doing a lot of research to check out how with out of box thinking or with frugal innovation they can justify the requirement of the company's customers, or making sure that the value chains can be not only compromised, but value chain can be in a smaller version, not compromising on the customer's requirement. So frugal innovation specifically talks about how with limited resources you use it. Now you know guys, there is a very important Hindi term which we call it as jugaad. Frugal innovation is used to be said in Hindi terms as like, what is the way how we can jugaadify, or what is the jugaad to be, make sure that we can do this thing in a very different format. It is the changing perspective management requirement these days, because if companies can make frugal innovation as a itinerary in their day-to-day processes, they will be able to get things done in not only smaller ways or faster ways, but also in a very, very professional ways. You know, there are a lot of concepts, examples and sites which says that you know, this has been a lot of kind of information which has been given, which says that if you are an individual, you are trying to employ people, will you employ a smart worker or a lazy worker? So they say that always employ a lazy worker. Why? Because he is lazy actually speaking, but he knows the ways how can get the work done in the smallest period of time. Because since he is lazy, he has got to do that work and he is working in the company. So he has got some ways out, and those are the ways today the management are looking for. Those are the ways which makes sure that the companies go out of the box thinking. These ways make sure frugal innovation a super hit concept in today's era. The companies in today's era are focusing on business aspects which can help them to grow with time. It is very evident and visible today's time that frugal innovation is going and growing with time. The companies and this concept of frugal innovation does not apply only to companies. It can be applied to ourselves also. Like example, for individuals like me or you who are listening to me, we have got to make sure managing few things, how better or how in a different format you can manage those things. Like simple example, you want to travel from point A to point B. What is the jugaad way, or how can you get work done in the limited time period when you have got so many priorities? Be it you have got to do a banking task, you have got to do a management task, you have to do a boss which he has asked you to do, you have to do some household work. How do you manage those things is what is called as frugal innovation. There is no theoretical story about what frugal innovation is, but frugal innovation means that the management has to have a thinking process change. It has to have a out of box thinking, which means identifying which way company can give the output in the given possible manner with the limitation of resources. Now to cite few examples, you all would know a brand known as Hair, H-A-I-E-R. Hair is a very famous brand. Now this brand of company was always known as a low cost manufacturing company. Now this company, which was a low cost manufacturing company, would not basically function for a lot of years as recognized as now it has been there in the market. The reason why? Because they were always considered as a low cost manufacturing company. But when they adopted frugal innovation, that is with limited resources giving maximum output, they were able to give it as they made different ways, different techniques, which from low cost manufacturer, now they are known as low cost brand manufacturers. So they were earlier generic brand manufacturers, now they are brand manufacturers. So they were able to justify the task because they found different ways through which they can source and produce the goods as per the requirement of the customers. These days every customer is looking for most economical format of the product and services. If the management starts looking from frugal innovation aspect, that is identifying the different ways through which they can get the work done in the best possible manner, then they are in a win-win situation. So that's what frugal innovation is all about. Frugal innovation makes sure that the management has to come out with innovative ideas through which businesses can grow with time. A simple example to cite over here is companies which are there in the market to deliver customers, or in today's generation, today's era, one of the biggest challenge for companies is to deliver goods to the customer. It becomes very difficult to deliver goods because of problems about sometimes traffic, sometimes not being able to deliver goods at the right time makes customer really furious. So we have got relay system in logistics, which a lot of companies are now looking out as a concept of frugal innovation. To give you another example over here is, there is a logistics company which serves a particular radius of around 400 to 500 kilometers, wherein they mention that within 24 hours from the time you book the particular parcel, in next 12 hours it will reach to the destination. How do they do it? They have got frugal innovation ways. They have done relay transport system. So a truck from A point goes to B point, and from there are new fresh drivers being designed who will again drive the truck with fresh mindset, and they will take the truck to the next 100 to 150 kilometers in the faster possible manner because it's fresh from that point. So these are the ways how frugal innovation would assist, help, or make sure that the companies can grow with time. So it is applying, it is requirement, and it is a mandatory need these days to have a frugal innovation approach. The companies also these days are looking for individuals, human beings who are able to have out of box thinking and justify the customer's needs and wants. So frugal innovation again is a very beautiful terminology, as it has changed the perspective of the management that the best way to do the output is more important than the greatest way to do the output or requirement of the client. So that is what frugal innovation justifies this task. Case studies based on frugal innovation justifies over a period of time that the companies have been able to achieve the success. It's because of frugal innovation. Now giving you a little insight now. To do frugal innovation, there are 3 steps required. Step number 1, identify what is happening right now in the company. Point number 2, check out what are different tools available through which you can minimize the task and deliver it to the company. So first been basically identifying tasks, and second, check out how the company is doing. Third, which is the most important task, arrange and identify the gaps between how it is being done and how it is expected to be done. Make sure that that can be aligned in such a way that there are certain aspects which you can easily move out, and these aspects will make sure that the company will be able to achieve grades and heights with the coming period ahead. So frugal innovation has ensured that company has got to minimize the resources but give the maximum output. Not maximum utilization of resources, but with minimum utilization of the resources, how can we get the maximum output is what is functioning. Unlike the earlier terms was optimum utilization of resources. But now the philosophy coming period of time would mention that how we can minimally use the resources and give the maximum output. So optimal utilization would happen, but the concept is the ways, techniques and tools which will help us to make these things faster. Now there was a very famous television movie, a Bollywood movie which was known as 3 Idiots. Which everyone would have seen, and it is very close to most of the people who are listening to me. I believe is very close to their heart. Now in the end of that movie, it is shown that that how a particular part in which Amir Khan explains, or in that particular episode it is being shown that how he manufactures wool from a scooter engine when it basically moves out as a weaving or cutting the fur of the different kinds of animals. Similarly, in the same way, we have a lot of companies. One of the farmer, actually speaking, there was one very innovative frugal innovation which was done by a farmer. A farmer in the village, he identified that how is it possible that I can keep things in a very cold format. So he made a particular kind of product which was with the help of kind of a mud clay. And he made sure that the fruits and vegetables, if it is kept in that particular designed format in a proper way, then the fruits and vegetables in that small bucket can be stored in, and it will be fresh for at least a week or 10 days. So instead of deep freezing it, you can keep it in that particular kind of thing. With the least resources, he was able to give the maximum output. So frugal innovation is basically thinking out of the box. We have seen, in a lot of cities who are listening to me, you would have a lot of taxis and lot of kind of auto rickshaws which are public transport. One group of people came together and did a frugal innovation in which while you sit in the taxi or car, you have got a lot of resin carpets on which basically we keep our body supported in the taxi or autos which we sit. Identifying that the era of designing was going into a very low format, and no one was encouraging people to go into designing, hardcore technical designing, which was very creative in nature. It was very difficult that the designing area was going down. In Mumbai, we have got very famous designing school, which is known as Sir J.J. School of Arts. Now the director also said that there is need for an hour wherein how we can ensure that the designers or people make career in designing. If there is no designing, there will be no creativity, and we'll never be able to identify how things would happen. So these guys of JJ School of Arts designed a different kind of frugal innovative approach to make sure that their designing is not killed out. They brought a very unique kind of innovation in a very frugal format in the least possible cost. The key of frugal is with the minimal cost, how you can give the maximum output was the key over here. So with the taxi walas, they did a good tie-up, and they encouraged them that whenever they are going to change their seats, instead of their seats, they would design the seats in their way, and it would build up stories. The designers started building up stories, and those became now the taxis and auto rickshaws, carpets. So the whole taxi was designed in a very crucial and a different format. So these are all different kinds of frugal innovation methodologies which will help companies to change the way how perspectives were looked or change the way how things were being viewed. So changing in perspective management is a view changing with the help of what innovation can be done with the lowest cost. See, resources crunch is always going to be there. With the lowest resources crunch, how you can give the output is the key in today's era. And if that a company can do it and achieve it, customers are going to be very happy. Now we are landing up in the era of entering into the festival mode. Companies are looking how beautifully they can have a frugal and innovative approach. Times were there where companies used to give bonuses to people in form of some gifts or corporate gifts. Corporate gifting is a very big business. They used to give gifts to the customers and the clients and the employees. With frugal innovation, companies have now come up with a new idea. Instead of giving to the employees anything which they do not need in form of kind, they are giving coupons, food coupons or different kinds of brand coupons which help them to utilize the cash related equipment and component in its own way. So it's a different form. It was out of box thinking by some group of people who thought a unique way to connect to people and make sure they can deliver the best possible thing for the customers and the clients. So frugal innovation is happening everywhere. If you are not aware about it, or if I am not aware about it, if we are not aware about it, we are going into a very challenging period from here on. We have to have a different kind of thought process. Out of box thinking is going to be need of an hour. The term which is very, most of us who can relate to me, they can identify and relate this term known as jugaad. What is the jugaad to do this particular task is nothing but called as frugal innovation. So what is the way out? How we can get the problem solved? How we can basically ensure that the business can be easily delivered is what is referred to as frugal innovation. So frugal innovation is applying to everything. For example, you want to go through the daily process, see how frugal innovation has been done. I do regularly frugal innovation about checking out how I can monitor, measure, function with the resources available, how I can get the work done. So frugal innovation is one of the crucial need of the hour of the business. Do it, deliver it, beat it and grow with time. So it is the need of the perspective management where management, the management has to take a step. They have to make sure an effort to encourage people to have frugal approach. They have to make sure that company can have out of box thinking process. Now a lot of IT companies which are going through a turmoil process thought that the employees who are very talented, they are living in setting up their own companies and growing with time. So your frugal innovation approach has already been taken up by a lot of IT companies, the CEOs and chairmen, where they are encouraging the employees within the company to set up their own businesses with investment by the company itself. And it is their baby, they will run it, but investments will be by the company. So these are new techniques through which frugal innovation are taking place. So it's all about how you change the perspective, mindset or thought process about management requirement, connecting with customers requirement and bridging a gap in the fastest possible manner. So I think now we will take up some questions if you have got, and accordingly we will go ahead in that context. So I believe so that's what I just wanted to share with you all, that frugal innovation is a very unique concept about how things would work and how businesses could relate to the requirement or need of the hour. So if frugal innovation basically has a perspective management which has got its own way of functioning. So I'm searching for few things over here. Okay, so I've got a particular kind of a question which says that does cheap mean that is low quality? No, Nikita. cheap doesn't mean low quality. It means most economical way to give the output to the product requirement or the customer's need. Cheap here does not mean, the word cheap does not mean low quality. It means in the best possible manner how you can deliver the output. Reducing complexity in engineering, yes Prerna, that is what basically is also need of the hour, and that's what is also referred to as frugal innovation. See, the idea is very clear in today's era. The idea is to go frugal, which means out of the box, which means how you can differentiate with the routine tasks a different kind of mindset. It is very closely utilized by the term which is known as jugaad, which are the ways how you can get the work done. You may have 10 different ways to get the work done, but the best way to do the work done is that way which can give you the maximum mileage as per the company's requirement. And that's what is the key of today's era or today's hour or need of the management's requirement. Making sure that frugal innovation is the key. All companies are right now getting up or getting awake about frugal innovation, and with time ahead frugal innovation is going to be the crucial aspect of the business. So that's how the whole business basically performs and functions. So I hope I have been able to give a good amount of gist about what frugal innovation, which is a change to perspective management, is concerned, and I hope this will also give you an idea about thinking and making sure that how in an innovative way the day-to-day also normal activities which you do can be transmitted in a different format. And I really thank WeSchool for giving me this opportunity to coming in and connecting with you all, and hopefully you all have a frugal time ahead. The businesses are growing and everything is superb ahead in life. That's all from my end. Thank you and God bless you all. Thank you so much.